Hi, folks. I did a talk, a recording, in regards to the subject of people not taking responsibility for their wrongdoings or their hurtful actions or something or other. And just watching the video, I've already had a change of heart in what I was saying in perspective. In a way, what I was saying was that, like, I spoke about, like, in South Africa, and I spoke about, like, here with government and how they squander the taxpayers' money on their own personal assets of houses and cars and luxurious handbags and whatever it is, money that's supposed to go for medical industry, for pensions, for taking care of the roads or whatever it is, etc., etc. Hospitals, schools, etc. Money that's supposed to go for worthwhile causes or whatever it is, taxpayers' money is just being swindled and whatever it is. And the thing is that, like, I watch these programs. I mean, there's a thing called Carte Blanche on YouTube. It's a South African sort of investigative journalism or something like that. And okay, so they don't go after government figures, but they go after, like, a lot of scam artists. I watched this one now where there's a guy who, because the unemployment rate is ridiculous here, and so he offers a service where you pay him 900 Rand, which is quite a bit of money for people who aren't employed, and says that he will confirm that if they pay the money, they get a certificate and they'll get a guaranteed position in, like, a major company, in a sense. And this guy has, like, swindled millions and millions of rands out of people, and obviously they paid for the application or the whatever it is, the piece of paper that gave them the credentials that they attended this week of training for this job. But obviously nobody got the job, and it's just a scam. And so they went after this guy, and they said, listen, people that are already unemployed, you're already taking their money. If and you're making it even further worse, don't you feel guilty? And the person was like, no, I don't. And they couldn't. I mean, they had all the facts, and the person was just squirming around and blaming this and changing the subject and whatever it is. And so it was just one example. But we know this in our own personal lives with people, family members, even people that you possibly work for, or people that work for you, where they done wrong, in a sense, and they will not take any sort of responsibility for it. And in a way, the sort of point that I made in that video was that there's almost no self to take responsibility. There's no self-actualized person who has a state of awareness, who has a state of conscience, and sees the difference of what's right and wrong. Because I think one of the things about being conscious, in a sense, is that you know the difference between what's right and wrong. When you're unconscious, that means that you've been conditioned and programmed by culture and society and television. And materialism, you don't necessarily, and everything else, you don't necessarily know right from wrong. Okay? And you don't even have a conscience, in a way, because you've just been so indoctrinated, you've been traumatized, whatever it is. And not only that, but okay, so there's that point, and then on top of that, there's no awareness that there's an individual that has a responsibility to there's no. I'm not saying for everybody, but for a lot of people, and especially the way that the world is, operates. And so what I'm saying is that what I have found of people who do take responsibility are those people who see the difference between what's right and wrong, and people who do not just play the victim role. Because when you play the victim role, you can never be accused of doing something wrong, because it was never your fault. And so there's no self-actualization. When there's self-actualization and the person is growing and the person is not just part of the hive mind or part of the matrix, then I feel that they can take responsibility, because they can see what is true and they can see what is untrue. Alright, so they can take responsibility and they can feel bad for their actions. Alright, or and then there are people that probably do feel bad for their actions, but they're able to justify it very easily. The ego, whatever, is able to justify it very easily with whatever excuses that they make. But I mentioned in this talk where I've caught people stealing from me on camera. Okay, I've got them on camera, and I'll show them the camera, and they'll deny that it's them. Okay, they'll say that's not me, although it's completely them, and they won't take responsibility. They don't see what they've done is wrong. Okay, I'm telling you, I've had extreme cases in my life of where people have done really, well, they've stolen from me. It's too long-winded to get into, whatever it is, and so on and so forth, but not taking responsibility, not owning up for it. And I myself have probably been very guilty of that as well, and I'm still guilty of not taking responsibility in certain areas, but I'm definitely open to seeing where I need to take responsibility, because I understand that I don't want to be causing harm to others or myself. I don't want to be misleading others. I don't want to be confusing others. I don't want to be manipulating others. I don't want to be insensitive to others. And I want to be aware. I wish to do no harm. And so I have to be very vigilant of my actions and my thoughts. And I would like to think that I'm a little bit self-aware. And one of the things about being self-aware again is realizing that you're a divine being, and you live with integrity, and you live within sacredness, and you live within honor. And every time you contradict that or do the opposite, you are furthering yourself away from divinity. You're furthering yourself. You're corrupting yourself. You're intoxicating yourself, and you're becoming more untrue to yourself, and your actual being and existence is becoming more of an illusion, in a sense, where it's just a fabrication of the mind, in a way, and of the trauma, and of the victimhood, and all of that stuff. And again, when you're in the victim role, you're not really conscious. You're not really see that life is not happening to you, but for you, in a sense. And you see your challenges, you see the adversities, or as a means for your own personal growth. They're not just there. The suffering of life is not just meaningless. It has a purpose to it, where you're applying yourself. You're dealing with the suffering. You're dealing with the challenges, the adversities, whatever it is, and a lot of the darkness. And you're coming through that, and you're transforming that from the base sort of matter to gold, in a sense. There's an alchemical process in that, all right? And so you see that life is teaching you, sometimes with tough love and lessons and whatever it is, for your own growth. And so you do take more responsibility, obviously, because you can see the nature of reality and the game that we play, which is not really a game. But so what I wanted to say, that's one part. So what I'm wanting to say is that for people to take responsibility, you can just almost forget about it, because they don't actually understand the language of taking responsibility. All right, whether it's a family member, which I'll get into in further talks, which I've already done, about, and even family members who are outright hurting you, right? They don't necessarily want to see that they've hurt you, because they won't be able to, if they can have a moment of deep reflection, they'll see what they've done, and they don't want to feel that pain. They don't want to feel that confusion. Like, I didn't realize what I was doing. That's, people don't want to have the assumption or even the hint that they might be out of control or not in control, and they don't know it, right? That's the last thing. It's like a drunk person when you try and tell them that you're drunk, and they say, I'm not drunk. But they are drunk as anything, And they'll say they're not drunk, because people don't want to be called out. They don't want to know that they can't take responsibility. All right, that they're ineffective, that they have no power to take responsibility at the same time, or see what they are doing, rather. Anyway, another side point I wanted to make is that, it is hard for people to take responsibility and to get things right in the world when we live in such a complicated situation. What I'm saying is that, if you give a child, right, let's say, their driver's license at the age of 6, okay, you're asking for big trouble. You're asking for, I mean, the man's child hasn't developed in a mature, serious way. They're just not responsible. You don't give a child a power tool, okay? You don't, well, now we do, but I mean, you don't sit the child down in front of a television, in a way, well, to certain degrees. But what I'm saying is that, like, we as society and culture, especially, let's say, the country that I come from, I come from a third world country, and I see people that don't understand let's say, the power of a cell phone. They don't understand the power of propaganda. They don't understand the power of debt or currency or money. They haven't yet. I mean, as most people, we don't understand technology. We don't understand money. We don't understand relationships. We don't even understand our own psychology. As Jung says, we do not know enough about man. Okay, we do not know enough about man, and that's true. And so, how do we expect? For others for other people? I'm saying, like, even in relationships, right? A guy gets married at a very young age to a woman. It's like, and they haven't done any self-reflection or self-growth or whatever it is. They've never been taught about the dynamics of relationship. Not even towards a relationship with themselves, but to another and a member of the opposite sex. Okay, you're asking for disaster. You're asking for disaster. You're asking for people. Let's say when they finish school, right, who've been completely suppressed by what their own uniqueness is about, and to take on a career and a job. Let's say when they finish school and studies, that of an options of a few numbers. And that they're going to know what it is that they want to do for the rest of their life, right? And they're going to do it well, and they're going to do it responsibly and with integrity, and they must enjoy what they do, is like impossible. It's like there's just no ways, right? You see what I'm saying? There's just no ways that the person's going to be in alignment in their life, or what they spend a majority of their life doing as a career, of something that's going to be meaningful to them. Alright? And then again, because, so that's on the one hand. And there's so much to be said. I mean, like with technology, we can't be responsible with technology. It's too powerful for us. We haven't evolved enough for it, spiritually, consciously, whatever it is. What I'm saying is that, like, that's what I recognize in this country, and that's why people will buy their driver's license, even though they don't know how to drive. Somebody will sell them their driver's license, or you can get your car roadworthy by just paying a few extra bucks, and your car doesn't even have to be at the site of where it's being roadworthy. You just bribe people, right? Those cars are not roadworthy. And those cars are like minibuses, and they're carrying a lot of people, women, children, men of all ages. And yet this car hasn't been roadworthy because somebody rather took a couple of rands, which could buy you maybe a few boxes of cigarettes, or a few cool drinks and a Happy Meal, and to get their money, and not taking their job seriously, not taking reality seriously. Hold on a minute, you're putting lives in danger here. You're putting lives in danger. And so from this country, as you can see, people, like, I see this country the people of this country don't understand what debt is, right? They don't understand, they're so easily scammed. They so easily, have their money taken out their pockets. Actually, it's worldwide, by clever marketing skills, manipulative and, hypnotic suggestions, subliminals and whatever it is. Like, it's, they're not clever enough. We haven't advanced enough. Okay? Not just, so in this country, and then I'm saying on the global level, we haven't advanced enough to even understand and appreciate different races, or different cultures. We don't have the know-how. So we're going to go to war with anybody that's different to us. Okay? We see them as a threat. We haven't evolved. Alright? And the world has just been put under this pressure cooker to evolve, right? But it's into chaos. And so it's impossible that your average human being can, can manage themselves efficiently, correctly, and honestly, and seriously in such a world that's moving so fast, and it's already morally bankrupt, and there's no real teachings and things like that, where people don't know right from wrong, okay? Because again, if you don't, and I would like to think that people can have a choice slowly and surely to get in touch with what's right and wrong and do the right things, but the pressure on it, the intoxication that's coming and the venom that's the Kool-Aid that people are drinking is too strong, okay? It's too strong, and whatever it is. So that's why, like, even the people that are selling alcohol, all right, and pushing it as much as they can, and advertising it everywhere, and like those companies, even though they're ruining people's lives, okay, they'll still say, well, there's nothing wrong with it because it's legal, type of thing. There'll always be a justification, and they don't take life seriously, and that's the biggest problem, is that we don't take life seriously. If you're watching the Kardashians, if you're into the Kardashians, you can't take life seriously. If you're communicating with people on your cell phone with a whole bunch of smiley faces and sad faces and happy faces, whatever it is, you're not taking conversation seriously. If you think your friends on Facebook, right, it's a serious relationship, then you're wrong, okay? You're absolutely wrong. I'm running out of time here a little bit. But so, I'm not letting people off the hook, but it's like we live in a very overcomplicated world, and we just pressurized to get along. I mean, to move on with it and manage ourselves and fit into a narrative and be a winner and not a loser, and things like that. And it's, that's society, that's culture, and it's terrible. But it is what it is. It's everybody's challenge. But again, what I'm saying is that most of the people, when we don't know what we're doing, is because we have no idea what we are doing. Okay? We have no idea that it's wrong. I mean, watching Miley Cyrus perform and grab her private parts on stage to young girls, and this is the influence. How are young girls and young boys going to know that that's inappropriate when this is their idol, in a way, that's doing it? Their idol that's doing it. So how are we going to take it seriously? We don't take death seriously, we don't take life seriously, we don't take health seriously, we don't take anything seriously in this world anymore. Okay? Like the Joker says, why so serious? And what was the Joker about? It was about chaos. That was it. And what was the Joker? He was a man who just wanted to see the world burn. That's what, he says to Batman. He says, you don't understand the Joker, because this is a man who just wants to see the world burn. That's the chaos, right? So why so serious? And the thing is that we're not serious enough, okay? And because the seriousness is the sacredness, all right? Love is serious. War is serious. Death is serious. Life is serious. Potential is serious. Imagination is serious. Okay? Spirituality, growth is serious. And whatnot. Relationships, children, adults, the elderly. It all needs to be deserved with respect. Okay? And we don't have that today. And so that's one of my difficulties when I run out of time, but that I deal with, is that I think people are on the same page as I am. And we're not. We're simply not. We're absolutely not. Alright folks, we're running out of time. We'll chat soon. Take care.